Hi, Lewis. P4 looks like a good return for a lot of hard work this weekend, but I understand from team radio comments the floor just isn't doing what you guys had maybe hoped it would do, and you want to have a proper look at it.
Well, firstly, really good to get fourth and fifth. I'm happy that I was able to move forwards and also just have a better weekend than the last and see through all the way to the end of the race and get those points. So I'm really grateful for that and happy with the performance. In general, I got a good start and then I had a lot of understeer because my fault, but I took too much front wing out of the car and I knocked out the front tyres basically in that first stint. And after the changes, after the pit stop, much better. But it was a really insightful and informative race because I could feel exactly where the car was working and where it was not. Very clear in my mind where the car is giving up. And I could see the difference between George and I also when I'm behind. So it will be interesting to see. They have now all this information for both our cars running. So good points, good data from both of us, and hopefully put us in a better position for the next race.
That sounds promising. If you can see where those are and the team then can see where those are, how quickly are those sorts of adjustments going to be able to be made, do you think, and brought to the car?
I mean, not before next week, I don't think, but whether or not I start on the old floor, or that's a decision we'll have to make. But I think just to put that back into the development pool for the guys, give them a bit more of a direction of where they need to go next.
All right, thank you. All smiles, George, but I guess it was a tricky race out there today. That car did look like that spec was better for a long time in that race, but Lewis just picked you at the end.
Yeah, I had a really strong first stint, and when I overtook Piastri, I got a lot of front wing damage, so that probably cost me a good couple of attempts per lap. So that was a bit of a shame, but at the end of the day, P4, P5, that's where we were as a team today, and that's probably better than the pace showed.
Do you think then, without that damage, your car actually was quicker than Lewis's, that spec?
Well, I mean, in the first stint I managed to get past Lewis, and there's no reason why that should have just flipped around. I don't know if they even showed the front wing on the TV.
We did see the end plate was hanging off. Well, it was horizontal almost.
Yeah, the whole flapper just basically collapsed, so I just lost loads of downforce. We'll see going into Brazil. I'm still confident the upgrades are working as they should be.
Well, a whole range of feelings. I guess a bit battered because that was, as you say, intense. There's a load of other adjectives you could describe it with, which are somewhat less flattering. But the sort of battered feeling is starting to wane, and mostly just focused on what's coming next. As you say, it's a triple header, 2 more coming down the road at us, and with lots of reason to be optimistic that we can get our redemption in those 2 Grand Prix.
What was the thinking behind not starting Lewis in the pits? Perhaps taking a new power unit or changing the setup?
The answer's not totally straightforward. We talked about it. It was, an option to do what George did, to start from the pit lane, having changed the setup on his car between qualifying and the race. We didn't actually have any reason to think there was much wrong with Lewis's setup. He had his best bodywork on. He had the grid position we had, which is further up the road than starting from the pit lane, and so why not start where you'd qualified, even if it wasn't the place you wished you'd qualified? So that was uppermost in our mind with respect to setup changes. If you do put another engine in, you go to the back of the grid because of the grid place penalty, start from the pit lane, we could have priced that in. But more significantly, you don't get to just put another engine in and not pay for it financially. If your engine breaks because it's got a problem, then the way the rules are written is that you can have another power unit at that point and it not impact your cost cap. But if you just say, I want one because I want one, that's a different matter. You have to pay for it. And that would not have been a good trade. The freshness of a new power unit would have lifted your lap times fractionally, but the cost cap hit would have not made that worth paying.
Mercedes has made a shocking decision by stopping Lewis Hamilton from testing with Ferrari, and this could mark a major turning point in their relationship. After over a decade of dominating the sport together, the partnership between Hamilton and Mercedes seems to be reaching a critical moment. Could this signal a breaking point between the 7-time world champion and his team? Is Ferrari in Hamilton's future? And what does this mean for Mercedes moving forward? Stick around, because we're breaking it all down in detail. Let's start by looking at how Lewis Hamilton is performing this season with Mercedes. After a difficult couple of years, 2024 hasn't exactly been a return to dominance for Hamilton. While there have been flashes of his brilliance on the track, the current Mercedes package has struggled to keep pace with the frontrunners like Red Bull and even Ferrari on certain circuits. Hamilton has been vocal about his frustrations with the car's performance, frequently commenting that the W15 has failed to deliver the competitive edge needed to challenge Max Verstappen's dominance. While Hamilton has managed to score a few podiums this season, outright victories have eluded him, and he remains stuck in the shadow of his past glory. Mercedes' struggles with their car's balance and overall speed have been apparent, leaving Hamilton, a driver who is accustomed to fighting for championships, often battling to even make it into the top 5. Hamilton, though, is not just any driver. He's the most successful driver in F1 history in terms of race wins and titles, and there's a sense that he's not content to ride out the twilight of his career in a mid-pack car. His frustration has been visible both on and off the track. There have even been rumors of tensions behind the scenes, as Hamilton pushes the team for more improvements, while Mercedes tries to adapt to a new era of tighter technical regulations. Now, let's get into the bombshell news. Mercedes has reportedly blocked Lewis Hamilton from participating in an F1 test with Ferrari. The news of Hamilton testing for Ferrari had been circulating for a while, sparking immense speculation about a possible future move to the Scuderia. However, Mercedes' decision to ban this test has stunned the F1 world. Mercedes' rationale is simple. Testing with Ferrari could signal disloyalty, a breach of trust between the driver and the team, and provide their main rival with invaluable insights into Hamilton's driving style. From a strategic standpoint, Mercedes wants to keep Hamilton under wraps, ensuring that any knowledge he has about the inner workings of their team doesn't cross enemy lines. Moreover, Formula One testing isn't just about jumping into a car and driving. It's about working closely with the engineering team, understanding the car's limitations, and often testing new parts and innovations. Hamilton's participation in a Ferrari test would inevitably give him exposure to Ferrari's technical philosophy and approach, potentially helping him fine-tune what might come next in his career. Mercedes clearly sees this as a threat. The decision to restrict this test is also a reflection of Mercedes' intent to protect their investment in Hamilton. Although Hamilton's contract has been a topic of ongoing speculation, his presence within the team remains a key factor in their marketing, global reach, and fan engagement. Preventing him from even unofficially testing with a direct rival is about maintaining that leverage. But what does this decision mean for Hamilton's future with Mercedes? Could it be the final straw? Unsurprisingly, the reactions across the F1 paddock have been explosive. On one side, many in the F1 community feel that Mercedes has every right to protect their driver and team secrets. Formula One is an incredibly competitive sport, and allowing Hamilton to test for Ferrari would be a risky move for Mercedes. The potential for Hamilton to share key insights about Mercedes' operations, intentionally or not, raises serious concerns. Mercedes' swift and firm action has been praised by those who understand the intense rivalry between top teams. However, others have criticized Mercedes' decision, calling it a restrictive and even petty move that could backfire. Some analysts argue that, after years of loyalty, Mercedes owes Hamilton more freedom, especially as he reaches the later stages of his career. This limitation is interpreted by some as a lack of trust between the driver and team, which could only serve to further alienate Hamilton. Toto Wolff, Mercedes' team principal, has stayed relatively quiet about the issue publicly, but insiders suggest that this decision comes from the very top. The higher-ups at Mercedes are reportedly unwilling to let Hamilton get too close to Ferrari, fearing a scenario where he might jump ship and lead their biggest rival back to championship contention. Ferrari, for their part, has kept their response diplomatic, but pointed. Team principal Frederic Vasseur hinted in a recent interview that they would welcome Hamilton with open arms, but stopped short of confirming any official test plans. Ferrari, like many others, understands the value of having a driver of Hamilton's caliber in their car, even if it's just for testing purposes. The broader F1 community has also weighed in. Fans are divided, with some taking Mercedes' side, arguing that Hamilton is still contracted to the team and owes them his loyalty. Others, though, have voiced their frustration, suggesting that Hamilton should be free to explore his options without Mercedes pulling the strings too tightly. So, could this whole situation indicate that Hamilton is seriously considering a move to Ferrari?